Hi everyone, so this is night review for Gina. So first of all, Gina, you definitely have blue eyes because we can pretty much see it everywhere. Just along the center of the eye, there's a lot of brown, but everywhere else it's blue eye. You were saying you wrote me an email with the specific concerns about detoxification, and first of all, you have to look at your stools and your urine. So urine, it cannot be just clear. I mean, if you drink like a lot of water and then pee, you're gonna have pretty clear urine just because if you drink a gallon of water, right? But throughout the day, especially like the first urination in the morning, um, it should have stuff floating around it. If it doesn't have anything floating in it, that means it's not detoxing stuff through the bladder. So then the other thing is the bowel movements. You want to make sure you are going to the washroom at least twice a day, number two, right? If you're going less than that, or if you're going every other day, or depending on the situation, ideally you want at least two bowel movements a day, at least. So two to three. I think beyond three is probably a bit much, but basically, as stuff comes into the body, stuff has to come out of the body. So if you're having big meals, right? I wouldn't, maybe breakfast. It depends. Some people have a big breakfast, some people don't have breakfast, but at least two bowel movements a day. So depending on where you are in that scale, if you're doing bad with all of it, that the urine is clear and then the bowel movements are happening much less than that. So I would say either way, just go to the watermelons. Watermelons is, guys, if you're not sure what to do, have a watermelon. And by watermelon, I don't mean like a slice. I mean like the entire thing. um, and I know it seems much, and at first it may seem overwhelming. The way I eat it usually is I put it through a blender, or if you don't have a juicer. Ideally, you want to put it through a juicer. If you don't have a juicer, like a masticating juicer, if you don't, just put it through a blender. And then it's up to you how you want to eat it. If you want to strain just to have the juice, or do you want the pulp too? Ideally, you do want the pulp too because you want the fiber, right? But if not, then just have the juice. But anyways, it's going to start clearing things out. And when you blend it or juice it, you can have a lot more of a volume than if you're eating it just like, slice by slice. If you do eat it slice by slice, I suggest just cutting it into little squares and having it like almost like a fruit salad of the watermelon. Now, it's very important that if you do have watermelon, you're not mixing it with any other thing, because actually Dr. Morse, if you guys watch his channel, he just did a talk on, and I'll tell you the short story, that a woman in I think it was Florida. But anyways, a woman in Florida was making breakfast for the husband, so she made him some oatmeal. And then later on, the husband had a bowl of watermelon. Well, then the husband goes, okay, I'm just going to go to the store. I'll be right back. So the husband went to the store, just like some home hardware, whatever store. So he's gone 1 hour, he's gone 2 hours, he's gone 3 hours. Then the sheriff calls the woman. The woman says, what's wrong? The sheriff says, your husband was charged with DUI, driving under the influence. His blood alcohol level was extremely high. You gotta come get him. Or, you gotta come down to the station. So, long story short, the woman goes, he doesn't drink. He just doesn't drink at all. And I just saw him, like there's no way that could have happened. So they actually fought the case in court, and it was because the watermelon mixed with the oatmeal created, started the process of, oh, I don't know what the name is for it, but anyways, it created basically alcohol, and it went in his blood system. So and they won. So the court, they showed medical proof, and the court upheld it, and they won the case. So that just tells you that that's, like the end result tells you that it's true, and it also tells you that You have to be very careful when you're mixing things. Ideally, you don't want to mix fruits and vegetables. You want to eat fruits, just fruits, vegetables, just vegetables. Keep in mind that tomato is also a fruit, so some things that we kind of look up on as vegetables are actually fruit. So this is just an aside, but it's very, very important, guys, like to know these things. Watermelon specifically, they say in pretty much all the books, not to mix it with anything else. So if you have watermelon juice or watermelon smoothie, just keep it at that. Don't start mixing, spinach or something else into it, creating a brewing situation, right? So basically, like, because it seems like it's harmless, but when you hear stories like this, it's not as harmless as all that. Okay, so just you have to be kind of careful with that. Um, so yeah, so I would suggest going back to the eye, really start to put berries and melons, but specifically berries is good, but melons specifically, watermelons, if you like cantaloupes instead. But again, if you're having cantaloupe, you have cantaloupe. If you have watermelon, you have watermelon. Don't mix the two of those either, right? Um, Also, like cucumber juice, but the green is not going to be as detoxing as the watermelon will be, to be honest with you. So I would just say, okay, especially right now they're pretty cheap. I don't know how much they are where you live, but in Canada they're like, $3 for a big watermelon. So just getting a watermelon, doing half a watermelon at least a day, and you should see that your bowel movements will increase dramatically, as well as the detox will start to begin. But the detox in terms of the kidneys, that might take a while, because generally speaking, it's, from what I see, it takes at least a few months, maybe up to 6 months, if up to a year in some cases, for kidneys to start to filter better than they are, depending on, like, again, like the level of deterioration in the kidneys, like the level of toxicity. But that needs, because the thing is if stuff is sitting in your bowels, that's really, really bad. And we can see that there's a lot of like pocketing and a lot of issues in the bowels, in the eye as well. So that's where your problem really kind of is. So that's where you have to start working out of. I also see that it is more towards the head area, which makes sense of what you were saying, with some issues with the headaches and things like that. So, but yeah, definitely going towards the detox, and then also, goes without saying, eliminating all of the animal-based products. As I mean, like, to be honest, guys, like, the term vegan is kind of misleading, because we're still using animal products. You have to be super obsessed about being vegan in order to use no animal products whatsoever, because they're in our shampoos, they're in our soaps, they're in our even like our clothes, how, like, what they put into some of the man-made fabrics and things like that. So it's really hard to avoid everything, and being vegan in terms, also, it's not about eating, it's about the lifestyle. So I wouldn't focus on the whole, like, veganism so much in terms of, like, being religious about it, because it can become obsessive as well. But instead, focusing on eating things that are actually helping you in your situation. Because if you focus on the positive side of it, that I'm just going to eat everything that helps me, if you do that, then all of the animal products, all of this other stuff is going to fall away as well. Because I see a lot of the times too, if people are stopping to eat meat, they start to replace meat with like soy-based products, like, fake burgers, fake, I don't know, like chicken nuggets, or chicken nuggets, however they say it, right? With the meatless ones. And guys, like, you don't even know what that stuff is made out of, right? So it's very important to not go down that road, but instead trying to eat healthy. And in terms of that too, make sure you're getting the volume. Especially right now, you want to have more bowel movements. You also need fiber, right? So you need stuff to push out, basically, right? To be kind of blunt about it. So you want to make sure that you're eating foods that are digestible and that are going through. And smoothies. I mean, if you just go on smoothies and juices, you're going to probably trigger detox. Well, you are going to trigger detox. And, that can have an effect on, temporary effect on, like, skin issues, like breakouts, just all kinds of things. Like you may feel like more headaches because all of this stuff, as it starts to move, you can experience all of these things. But that, another thing that I would suggest to you is, just one second, I'm going to give you the name for it. Sorry, guys. So, okay, so sorry, I just went to double check here. They have this thing, it's called Blessed Herbs. If you Google it, you'll see it. I think actually I have it below every video. If not, then just Google it. They have $100 package of colon cleansing, and that might help you as well to detox. And it has all of the instructions of, okay, if you're having this many bowel movements, you do this. If you have this many bowel movements, then you do that. And it will help you kind of move things along. I think it was like $100 with like, everything like taxes and da-da-da. So I would suggest doing that as well, but you got to get that stuff moving. Also, another important thing that I keep wanting to mention in my videos is, if you are, and again, like all of these things are a little bit gross because like we're talking about bowel movements or whatever, but if you want to be your own doctor, if you want to be your own healer, you kind of have to get used to how the body works, okay? So before you go to bed, if you don't go number 2, right? Like if you don't poop before going to bed, that stuff is going to sit for extra 8 hours, decomposing inside your colon, inside your body, So if at all you can, I would really recommend trying to have a bowel movement before you're going to bed, as opposed to how most people, including myself, like I mostly have my first bowel movement in the morning, right? Like right when I wake up, which is not really good. I'm working right now to change that, but going before you go to bed, at least a little bit, because you want to get that stuff out so it's not sitting there with you overnight. So, and also another thing that I would recommend, and this is not specifically for anybody, but more like for everybody, is if you Google intermittent fasting. So that means that basically, you know how like that whole theory of like not eating after 6 and stuff like that. But it's not for weight loss. It's just to give your body time to regenerate. So the time when you stop eating in the evening, and then when you start eating in the morning, it's almost like a fast in and of itself, right? Like how we say breakfast, breaking the fast, right? So that's very important as well, and that will help you as well. So those are some of the key points. For this specific eye, all of the problems I see are within your bowels. So like the major ones anyways. Let me see if there's, like as you were saying, there is some sulfur buildup and things like that. I do see some problems within the kidneys, within the adrenals, and that's to be expected because all of it kind of causes issues. But just the bowels are really bad and they need to be cleaned up. And I think once you do, just like you were saying in your email, that once that starts to fix itself, then everything else will follow because the body just needs to eliminate it. But if you're having detox symptoms as you are eliminating, don't be scared of them, because the detox, if it's like your skin is breaking out, you're having headaches, it just means things are happening, things are moving. And then to help it, I would suggest doing dry skin brushing, doing lymphatic massage. Lymphatic massage, you can go, search on YouTube. There's a lot of videos that are really good by massage therapists on how to do it. So doing that as well. So anything that will help your body rid itself of toxins is really good. Also, you can try doing baths with ginger or cayenne, because that makes you sweat and again detox as well. I tried to do cayenne. Don't worry, it's not gonna like burn you in specific areas or anything like that. It's fine. It makes you really sweat. But if you're kind of scared to do cayenne pepper, then do just ginger and you will still sweat quite a bit. So those are some key pointers. I hope it helps. Please keep me updated and send me your eyes in about 6 months, and then we can see how you're progressing. But just make sure, in case I lose these pictures, that you keep a copy of your previous pictures, and then we can kind of compare the two and see how you're doing. And again, for eye reviews, right, it does take a while to notice the difference in the eye. So don't be discouraged if, like, you're not seeing a lot of changes, as long as you're seeing changes in the body, because your goal for the next 6 months is to make sure that you're filtering through the kidneys and that you're having a lot of bowel movements. Those are two number one goals, and then everything else, and then also having as much fresh fruits as possible, especially like watermelons. If you have half a watermelon every single day, you're going to be so much better off in 6 months. Just kind of making it, say for example, making it your breakfast meal, right? And just like as a system, so you don't have to think about it. So and you'll feel amazing. I'm telling you, your skin is gonna glow. Like when I started to do specifically watermelon, I had some like wrinkles. Like I'm not, like still, like I haven't developed a lot of wrinkles yet, but just the skin quality changes, and a lot of my wrinkles unwrinkled. Not all of them, but to a great, some did completely, some did some, but to a great degree. I would say about by generally about 50%. So the mild ones just went away, and the more harsher ones kind of got to 50%. But that's still like amazing, right? So it's just better, and you can see in my videos, like watch some of my very early videos, and then the videos now, like my skin is so much more alive. Like it's more, it's got a different shade. It's just, once you pass the detox, I mean, it looks horrible. I can't lie to you with that, but you just got to get past it and don't be scared of it. So I hope that does help. I do suggest checking out the Blessed Herbs as well. It worked for me pretty well, and it does put you on a detox as well. So I would recommend that if you can do it. If not, just do watermelon, you'll be fine. So thank you so much for sending me your eyes. If you guys would like me to review your eyes, you know how to do it. Please send me to I'll leave all the links below where to send it to, and I will see you in the next video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. If you like this video, please click the like button.